is. It is a Tuesday episode, a terrible take Tuesday episode of Donno Daily here on the 5 Reasons Sports Network. God, this is so annoying. Right as I go live, I get a phone call. You see what that missed call says? Tele-freaking-marketer. The telemarketers are already going after me. Leave me alone. Damn it, I don't need an extended vehicle warranty. It is a terrible take Tuesday episode of Donno Daily here on the 5 Reasons Sports Network. We have a lot to talk about today, from Tua's ribs to the return of my BFF, as David says in the chat. Will Fuller is back in the Dolphins facility. We'll talk about that problematic Dolphins offensive line. We'll talk some Miami Hurricanes. We'll talk some Miami Heat. Training camp is right around the corner. Brady Hawk is going to join us today at 12:15 to talk some basketball. 12:40, Mr. Juan himself, Juan Cardona, is going to join us to talk some Dolphins. In a couple of minutes, my friends, as I mentioned on Twitter, I am going to have a very important confession to make on the show. Before we get to that, let me tell you about our great sponsors here on Donno Daily, the Quarterdeck Seafood Bar and Neighborhood Grill. Guys, make this your spot all football season long. This is the place to be for 2-for-1 happy hour all day, every day. You can watch all the NFL games on Sundays, all the college football games on Saturdays, Monday Night Football, Thursday Night Football. Watch it on the big screen, flat screen, high-definition TVs covering every single wall, and they have a great beer special during football season. You head out there on a Saturday or on a Sunday to the Quarterdeck Seafood Bar and Neighborhood Grill. You can get the 5 for $15 ice cold buckets of imported beer and high noon hard seltzer. Mix and match them to your heart's content. It is such a great way to watch the games, guys. Make sure you try the seafood at the Quarterdeck. God, the buffalo shrimp is my favorite appetizer. The sushi is so fresh, my friends. The ribs, the burgers, the sandwiches at the Quarterdeck. Make sure you save some room for the key lime cheesecake. It is a perfect way to finish every meal. If you want to find the location nearest to you or check their menu before you go, visit them on the web at quarterdeckrestaurants.com. The Quarterdeck, come for the food, stay for the fun. We have an official sports book here on Donno Daily. We've been having so much fun, and I know Sean Stanley's having fun with it. I know a lot of our viewers are having fun with it. BetUS.com. Guys, this is the spot for action all football season long. I also bet international soccer on BetUS. I bet sometimes pop culture. I actually won a bet around a year and a half ago, or whenever the presidential debates were going on, about a year ago. I actually won a bet on the color tie that Donald Trump would be wearing. I guessed red at like plus 200 odds, and I won a big bet on that. That was fantastic. BetUS.com, guys, is the place to be. And if you use our code when you sign up, we have a deal for you. Use our code 5RSN125 when you make your deposit, and they're going to give you a 125% sign-up bonus on top of your deposit. So if you deposit $100 with your credit card, they'll give you an extra 125 to play with. It's so good. Or if you deposit with crypto, that's why I'm wearing the Bitcoin hat today. You deposit with crypto, you get a 200% sign-up bonus. They are the 3-decade leader. BetUS is America's favorite sports book. You can bet sports, casino, horses, pop culture, and more at BetUS.com. You bet, you win, you get paid. BetUS. Want to say hello to everyone who's already in the chat. I see my guy Brooklyn Rob. He says Mush does not bet, he makes donations. MB Beggs is in there. He's trying to guess what my confession is going to be. I'm going to make that shortly. He says you're really a fan of the other Milan team. Say it, Donno. Yeah, I'm an Inter fan. I think MB Beggs is a Milan fan. He wants me to admit it. Hello to Daniel Weiss. The Pitbull Danny Weiss is in. David is in. He's usually one of the first people in the chat, and I appreciate that. Let me say good morning to our pal Sean Stanley before I make my confession today. Sean, how are you, sir? He's broadcasting from the closet, as you can see. He's making the plug for his, what is it, the SSS Sports Talk, the Sean Stanley Sports Talk shirt. He's got the Don Shula football. How are you, Sean?
I'm doing great. I got the Inter Miami MLS hat on. I'm ready to go.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Not tomorrow against Nashville.
That's another L, I think.
We'll see.
The team, they've been doing really well before that disastrous New York Red Bulls game at the weekend. All right, give me the floor for a second, Sean, because I want to start things off here before we have some fun on the show. I want to start things off on a serious note. I told you guys I do have a confession to make, okay? My name is Alex Donno, and I have a gambling problem. And my problem is I don't gamble enough. Jesus Christ. The opportunity that I had last night. Oh my God. I'm so disappointed in myself. Sean, you can put yourself back on the screen. Confession is over. So, going even back to last Thursday, we had Barry Barger on from BetUS.com. He's going to be our Thursday regular talking betting. Lee Sterling joins us on Fridays. And even going back to last Thursday with Barry Barger, we were talking about that Packers-Lions game for last night, and I thought, that 11-point spread, that's really gigantic. I don't know what to do there. He's like, the Lions are terrible. I'm not betting against Green Bay at home for the bounce back. Aaron Rodgers is going to have revenge in his eyes, so he wasn't worried about that spread. I didn't ask Lee Sterling about that specifically, but I was debating all weekend. Like, am I going to go? And I wonder if I had anybody thinking I had a real problem there for a minute. My problem is I don't trust my gut enough. I don't gamble enough, man. I miss so many opportunities. There's an old Chinese proverb that says, you lose 100% of the bets you do not place. And I was a victim of that last night because, Sean, that 11-point spread turned into an 11.5 spread yesterday. And then I was debating it up until, 30, 40 minutes before game time. And I thought, you know what? I'm just not going to touch this one. I'm just going to sit back and enjoy the game. And yeah, the Lions, even though the Lions did have some offensive success, they had a couple of leads in that game, 7-0, 14-7.
They look real easy.
Yeah, the first drive and really the first half had me thinking I'm really relieved that I didn't place that bet. But then the Packers end up, and it did take, a fourth quarter touchdown to get there for, what you would call a backdoor cover. But the spread was 11.5. The Packers end up winning by 18 points. That was a missed opportunity on my part. But Sean, tell me if you agree or disagree with this, because I find some of the narratives coming out of last night's Packers victory to be interesting to me. I would love it if I or any of my favorite athletes could get the kind of benefit of the doubt that Aaron Rodgers gets and that this Packers team gets. So week one, they had their doors blown off. Like week one, they were embarrassed and humiliated against the New Orleans Saints.
38-3.
And then week two, they go up against an awful Detroit Lions team. And the Lions have been awful for basically my entire life. An awful Detroit Lions team. And, they win the game by 18 points. And, yeah, Aaron Rodgers had a really nice game, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions. Aaron Jones was freaking immense. 4 touchdowns for him in that game. Devontae Adams had a couple of huge catches. Aaron Rodgers went deep to him. Rodgers looked really good, but the Packers' defense at times looked really porous. And repeat after me, the Detroit Lions suck. The Detroit Lions suck. So coming out of that Packers win, all I keep reading is, they're Super Bowl contenders. Green Bay, they're contenders again. Everything is fixed. Everything's right in the world. I don't know if beating up on the terrible Detroit Lions at home, keeping in mind the weather was terrible in the second half, which can, it can screw things up a little bit for that Lions offensive attack when they're down trailing in the game. Listen, I don't really know if beating an awful Lions team at home when you're favored by double digits shows me that you're Super Bowl contenders. I think people are really overreacting to this. I mean, and I love how Manny is just there. He's just there chilling. But I mean, don't you think it's a little bit of an overreaction? And Sean, this weekend, week 3, the Packers are going to have a much tougher test because they've got to go to San Francisco to face a really good 49ers team. Why don't we just withhold judgment on Green Bay until we see what happens against a good team?
No, that only happens with one team. Only one team gets the reaction that they suck every week, and that's the team down in South Florida.
By the way,
everybody else rebounds.
The Detroit Lions made me money last night. By the way.
Oh, so you bet on the? Well, what did you? Hold on. What did you bet on? Or fantasy?
I bet on Jared Goff 2 or more touchdowns. Thank goodness. Thank goodness it happened in the first half because the second half was a total shit show.
It was.
They did exact opposite of what they did the week before. They had a good first half and sucked the second half of the week before.
I do know, though, Alex, that a lot of people did bet on Jones going over 100 yards because I think he was over 100 yards against the Lions in 3 consecutive matchups. But
he didn't. No, he didn't. Yeah.
He didn't reach 100, but
I mean, he still had an incredible game, but it was mostly receptions.
Yeah. Thankfully, Goff he actually decided to play football for the first quarter, and then everything else just went to shit. So hey, I'm good.
And also with Rodgers at quarterback, what was he 8-0 after a loss or something like that?
Yeah.
When they played on primetime or something like that, they showed the stat right before the game. And again, it's Green Bay. They're never going to not get the benefit of the doubt, especially with Aaron Rodgers under center. Throw somebody else under center, maybe it changes. But
exactly,
with Aaron Rodgers under center, they can do anything they want.
And another part of my gambling problem, where I don't gamble enough, that's my problem, was, I watched the J-Rod 5 Reasons to Bet yesterday, and he was too much of a coward to bet the spread, as I was. But he even said that something, I think he said this on his video, that he was going to put a bet on the prop of Jared Goff throwing an interception, which he did. So that was another opportunity I missed. Dude, you sound like you're a robot. What the hell is going on?
What just happened there?
I don't know. I don't know what just happened there with Manny, but I think his connection was lost or something. I want to say hello to everyone in the chat here. Brooklyn Rob is in. Of course, he's calling me the mush as usual. Oh, there's Manny's shoes. Dear God. Brooklyn Rob
he's using to get internet.
Oh, that's probably they look like they're made out of aluminum foil or something. So he's probably getting like the Wi-Fi is bouncing off of the shoes. Good morning or good afternoon, I guess, to GA Kane fan. Ray says Robot Manny. We got Cap for Life is in. Hello, total bleep show. He writes. Rafa in Miami is in. Thank you. I think I already shouted out Dan Weiss, who said, yeah, Aaron Jones, 4 touchdowns, 3 through the air, 1 on the run. He had a fantastic game. And Dan Weiss he's a Packers fan. So I know he was thrilled with Green Bay getting it done and Aaron Rodgers bouncing back nicely. Alfredo Artiaga says, I wish the plague on the Lions for not covering that 11.5-point spread drop pass in the end zone. So I take it Alf went the other way, that he bet on the Lions to cover. I don't know. I didn't really consider that because I knew how bad the Lions were, and I knew that they would choke in Green Bay. I wasn't positive Green Bay would win by enough to cover. So, this is terrible. I left a couple of winning bets on the table. So hello to everyone who's in on the chat. We're going to be, by the way, Manny says the bet was the 2 touchdowns, not the interception. Maybe somebody else might have, you know what? That might have been another Barry Barger number. He might have been the one who, when he was with us last week, gave me the bet on the Goff interception. I think that might have been him who gave that to me. So because I know I saw that somewhere, to bet on Jared Goff to throw an INT, and I didn't take advantage of that opportunity. As Brooklyn Rob has mentioned over and over and over again, I am a mush. I hope this week, unlike last week, I don't mush Will Fuller's availability with the Miami Dolphins. And it's not something I should even be joking about because, and again, I don't know why he was away from the facility at the end of last week and why he had to miss the game. It was personal reasons. I didn't do any digging on it because I respect his privacy. I don't necessarily want to know what was going on in his life. I heard a couple of rumors, some speculation. I don't really know if I saw anything solid or concrete as to why Fuller wasn't around last week, but our entire Thursday show last week was themed around Fuller being the secret weapon. And then we found out on Friday he wasn't at the facility and he wasn't going to play. We do have good news as of yesterday, and I didn't find this out until shortly. We got off the air yesterday, and Brooklyn Rob is telling me, don't say it. I don't know, Brooklyn Rob, I have a responsibility.
Don't do it.
But I have a responsibility to talk about what's happening with the local teams. Like I can't not say it. So, all right, we're going to really put the theory to the test. If this man ends up missing another game because of me, we're going to know it's me. So I've got to mention Will Fuller. He's back at the facility this week. Was back yesterday. He, according to Cameron Wolf, he feels recharged and refreshed after taking some time over the weekend and not being with the team. And he is ready to make his Miami Dolphins debut, according to Cameron Wolf. Fuller is ready to make his Miami Dolphins debut Sunday, 4:05 p.m. on the road at the Las Vegas Raiders. So the whole secret weapon thing, we have to wait an extra week. Now, it's actually probably a blessing in disguise that Fuller didn't play last week, because he wouldn't have been the difference in a 35-0 game. Will Fuller could not have blocked for Tua. He would not have been the difference in Tua getting injured last week and the Dolphins' offensive line being porous. So if you're going to miss an extra week, that was probably a good one to miss, because he wouldn't have been the difference in, that debacle of a week ago. I'll remind you of some of these numbers, why Fuller is going to be the secret weapon. 16.5 yards per catch last season. That was 6th highest in the National Football League. Of his 53 receptions last year, 38 of those went for first downs, 71.7%. These numbers per Barry Jackson. Thank you, Barry. That was 11th in the NFL. 71% of his receptions, nearly 72% of his receptions moved the sticks, went for first downs. So, yeah, this is a guy that's going to be a welcomed re-addition. And we're also monitoring throughout the week. The Dolphins are off on Tuesday, so we won't really get any more until tomorrow. But we are monitoring throughout the week the bruised ribs of one Tua Tagovailoa, day to day. It's going to be a pain tolerance issue for him. Probably going to have the flak jacket on the next time we see him. But real quick with Fuller, before we're going to bring in our first guest of the afternoon in a moment here. He's in the waiting room, one of our favorites. With the Will Fuller thing, if we look back to what Brian Flores said this past Friday, collectively, we probably overreacted a little bit to what Flo said, talking about Fuller's situation being day by day, because we came out of last Friday thinking he may never be back, that Fuller, who's away from the team for personal reasons, we may never see him put on a Dolphins uniform. We may never see him at all this year. And then at the end of the day, he's back 3 days later in the facility. I think what ends up happening there is we just have to understand and accept the fact that Brian Flores is not the type of head coach to give you any information whatsoever. Bill Belichick disciple, Bill Belichick coaching tree, Belichick DNA. If you were to ask Brian Flores today, Coach Flo, what are you having for dinner tonight? His answer would be, we're going to take that day to day. We're going to keep that in-house. He's not going to give you anything. Coach, what did you have for breakfast this morning? We're going to take that day to day. You're not going to get any information from this guy outside of what he's required to give you, right? I mean, you're required to give a certain amount of basic information about what's going on with your club, because that's why the media is there in the first place. But if you're looking for specifics on why a guy is away from the team for personal reasons, or specifics on somebody's injury that he's not required to give, do not expect Flo to give you anything that he's not required by the collective bargaining agreement to give you. And that includes the whereabouts of Fuller last weekend, how severe that situation was, and whether he's going to come back. We probably overreacted a little bit to him saying, I can't guarantee you he comes back. It's day by day. And that had everyone assuming, oh my God, we're never going to see this guy again. He's never going to play. All right, let's go out to the guest line. Talk a little Heat basketball here with one of our show favorites, hardest working man on the 5 Reasons Sports Network, Brady Hawk. Good afternoon, Brady. How you doing, sir?
Doing good. How are you? Thanks for having me on.
Doing well. How's that fantasy football team of yours doing, man? We 2-0 or 1-1 now?
We're 1-1. We had a rough week. And luckily, Tyler Lockett kept me in it because he just seems to do that every week. But other than that, I'm 1-1.
Oh, man. So first thing I want to get down with you, we talked about this a little bit with Alana Tahauer yesterday, and she made some really good points. I don't think I'd thought about this one enough. Sometimes I overthink things. I think for this one, I was underthinking a little bit, because when I found out over the weekend that Kyle Lowry was getting the number 7, and I read that Goran Dragic gave him his permission, his blessing to take the number 7, I was thinking, okay, that's it, end of story. But then Alana Tahauer made some great points yesterday that, hey, that number 7 is sacred, and there's a chance Dragic comes back to the Heat before retiring, and at some point his number is going to get retired. Do you think it was right for Lowry to take the number 7, or should he have just left that for Goran?
I think, especially with the report coming that Goran gave him his blessing, I think it was definitely right. Even if you look at some of the other numbers that Lowry's worn in the past, they're all pretty much retired in the Heat anyway. So he would have had to go in a total different direction. But like as you said, yeah, that is the case. He can still get retired. I've said before that I don't think we've seen the last of Jimmy Butler and Goran Dragic playing together. Just in my opinion, I feel like we're going to see it down the line. Goran ends up coming back before his career is over and ends up running it one more time with Jimmy. And we'll see where Kyle's at that time. But obviously, I think it's right. He gave him the permission, the blessing to do it, and Kyle Lowry's wearing number 7. I think it makes a lot of sense.
Do you think we're going to see Goran back in a Heat uniform actually as a player, or is it going to be more of those, hey, I'm going to sign the one-day contract to retire with the Heat?
If I had to guess, I would think it would be as a player. Like, I feel like he's the competitor side just like Jimmy, and I think that's why they meshed so well and they became such great friends. If he comes back, I don't think it's to sit on the sideline for a day and just go through the facility. I think it's going to be to try to battle or be at the end of the roster with Jimmy Butler, going to practice with Jimmy Butler, going to practice with this team. I feel like if it is the case, I think it might be one more run, one more season.
You wrote a few good pieces this past week at 5reasonsports.com. Everyone should check out Brady's work there. Something I wanted to ask you your take on, and you polled your Twitter followers on this and just how close the results were. It goes to show you it may not be an easy answer, but you asked who's going to close more games for the Heat this season. Tyler Hero, who just had his baby girl. Congratulations to him, and he's looking jacked. So I'm thinking renewed focus for Tyler, or Duncan Robinson, who just got that nice contract extension. And the results were very close, Brady, from your followers. Tyler Hero, the slight edge at 51.7%. Duncan Robinson, 48.3%. So who do you think will close out more games this year?
Yeah, if I had to say right now who would end up closing more, I think it's going to be Hero. Coach Spo always trusts him down the stretch. It's kind of been that way anyway. But I do think we're going to see a lot more from Duncan than we've seen already. Minutes wise, there was like 284 and 286. That's how close they were this past season in
Wow.
fourth quarter minutes. So we've seen it 50-50 in the past already. Obviously, that may be a bit clouded with injuries and things that have gone on in that nature. But I feel like it's going to be situational. Like if you see guys like Kyle, guys like Jimmy, the shot creators struggling a bit, I think Tyler is undoubtedly going to be out there. But if you have Kyle and Jimmy and Bam rolling on a specific night, and it's just about trying to get them going into the sets, get them to the rim, I think you see Duncan out there. You need the pull. You need a guy that they have to stay on your grill, and it just maximizes space to the rim. So I think we're going to see Spo's never been a guy that just says, these are my 5 closers for these 82 for the playoffs, and we're just going to keep going. We're going to see a ton of different closing lineups. Like there's going to be some weird ones that you go out there and say that I didn't expect this. Yeah. But I do think it's going to be between Duncan and Tyler most nights. I think we could pretty much agree that it's going to be Kyle, it's going to be Jimmy, it's going to be Bam. And as I've said before, PJ is going to be closing, I'd say, almost every game. Like that just reminds me of a Coach Spoelstra guy that he's going to have on the floor. Even if you may think a Jimmy at the 4 lineup is more intriguing, PJ is going to be out there. He's going to be the guy he trusts. He's going to be the guy he likes to throw on certain players, be physical. So I see that going that route, and I think it's going to be situational between Tyler and Duncan, and I think Hero will probably get the nod most nights.
And it's funny you brought up PJ Tucker, who I love. And when I asked Alana Tahauer yesterday, which Heat newcomer, right, new player on the roster, are you most excited for this year? And she actually said PJ Tucker. I mean, something about his game and his toughness, he really is a throwback to a different era in the NBA. Just like, how much is he going to affect this team, especially down the stretch in closing minutes with his defense?
Yeah, when we were talking about acquiring a 4, I feel like they needed somebody to size up more than size down, and I think we noticed that. There's been points that have been made. It wasn't just Jay Crowder that made the difference in the bubble. It was the player that he was. The Trevor Ariza plugged a lot of things that Miami needed at the time, but he was one that was guarding point guards, and they needed that at the time. But they need a guy that can guard when Bam switches out to the perimeter, the guy that can switch onto a 5 in the post and handle himself, and that's PJ Tucker. He's versatile. He can guard opposing wings. I don't think we're going to see him a lot of guards, but I don't think you need to now that you have Kyle Lowry, you have Victor Oladipo returning at some point in the season. Like you have that locked up now. It just made a lot of sense. And I really feel like PJ Tucker, the acquisition all around is just really underrated, just across the league. Like the fit in a Miami Heat system is perfect. The fit with Eric Spoelstra is perfect. And I think the fit with Bam Adebayo is perfect. That, like I said before, it just fits defensively. And I feel like they just needed a guy that can – people may get annoyed with him offensively because he's not going to be a guy that's going to be putting up crazy amount of points in the scoring column. But he's going to do just enough that Spo's going to like him out there, and he can hit the occasional 3 in the corner to kind of keep you alive.
We're joined here by Brady Hawk from the 5 Reasons Sports Network. He joins us here on Donno Daily. Something that caught my attention this morning is this Bleacher Report power ranking of the top 25 under 25 NBA players. And so immediately I go into this thing, okay, how are they going to disrespect my guy Bam Adebayo on this list? And I don't know if I have a huge problem with where they put him, but maybe one of the people in front of him I'm kind of annoyed with. So they end up going with Miami's Bam is the number 5 under 25 player in the league, according to this list, which is not terrible. But let me give you the top 4. So Bam at number 5, Zion Williamson number 4, Trae Young number 3, Jason Tatum number 2. That's the one that annoys me. And then, as a lot of people could guess, I'm sure, Luka Doncic at number 1. And I will not argue with that. The Slovenian beauty at number 1. No issue with that whatsoever. Do you think Bam's a little bit too low? And do you really think Jason Tatum should be number 2 on that list, Brady?
Yeah, I think those lists can get a bit clouded just because we don't really know what they're basing it off of. Like, if you're talking about next season only, that may be a different story. Some of them like to look into the future and say down the line. The only way I can see them making that case is because Jason Tatum is the number 1 option on his team. And Bam, I would say, is probably going to be the second option on most nights, even though they'd want him to be the first if he makes that jump. But I think that's kind of the case to be made. Obviously, doing it on both ends of the floor is where I kind of I'm probably a little biased just because of what he does on the defensive end is just really special. I think he's going to be right up there once again for Defensive Player of the Year. And that I think that they don't value that as much as probably I do personally. So it doesn't surprise me at all. Honestly, I'd probably expect them to be lower on a Bleacher Report list. I would probably, So top 5 is pretty interesting, but obviously I think after this season, he's probably going to be climbing higher and higher, even though guys on that list are, I think, pretty much all younger than him. I think Doncic is younger, Zion's younger. So obviously he should have the edge right now, but top 5 I think is pretty accurate right now.
So we are now less than a week away from Media Day, a week away from training camp, just a couple of weeks away from the preseason opening. Who are you looking forward most to seeing in camp, Brady? Like a player that's either maybe a newcomer that you want to see in action or an existing player you want to see make a jump?
Yeah, I think people have asked me who I think is going to be the biggest surprise this season. And I've been consistent that I think it's going to be Max Strus. Like, if I'm talking about a guy I want to see in training camp make a jump, just showcase the consistency that he's shown up to this point, it is Max Strus. Summer League, they gave him the call to basically be the guy on that Summer League team. They gave him, he's been a spot-up guy ever since he got here, and they said, we're going to put the ball in your hands a lot more, see what you can do. And he reacted greatly. So I think that's something that speaks to his development so far, his off-season work. Obviously, this season, I think he's going to be dropped right back down to the spot-up role. And as I said before, he's the relief guy for Duncan. And you need that on this team. You need a guy that can shoot it. With the defensive guys on this team, you need somebody that can come in for Duncan. We know he likes to get foul trouble early a lot of the time. So he may have some games where he jumps in there in the early first. But when you're looking at the bench until the Oladipo returns, you're going to need production from Max Strus. So obviously, training camp, I think you need to see something there. You need to see somebody that can balance Hero, allow Hero to be on the ball a bit more, and just have a guy that can come off pin downs, come off constant off-ball movement, and shoot the ball at a high level. So if he can improve on the ball like he did in Summer League and showcase it in real games, you have something completely different. But obviously, I'm not putting that type of expectation on him. I think a spot-up role is right, and if he can just shoot it at a high level like he's shown he can, then I think it's perfect.
Hitting it out of the park, as always, is Brady Hawk. You can check out his work at 5reasonsports.com. Check him out on Twitter at BradyHawk305. And Brady, I know you're always working on something. What's the next piece you're going to drop at 5reasonsports.com?
Yeah, I'm going to be I think we talk about the theme is toughness. We talk about all these different themes. One of the things that's kind of getting caught in the mix, I think, is the free throw element that Kyle Lowry, we said this a lot before, but the free throw numbers on this team is going to be crazy. I think looking at the bubble run, Bam, Jimmy, and Kyle were all top 20 in free throw shooting. And having 3 guys like with that much pressure on the rim, that much pressure on the defense, and slow the game down, play at your own pace, I feel like that's kind of getting lost in the mix a bit. So I'm going to dive into that a little bit more.
I love it. Great stuff here as always. Make sure you follow Brady on Twitter, BradyHawk305. Oh, is this is Cap for Life? Is he in your fantasy league or?
No, I don't think so.
I think he's just asking a fantasy question. Would you trade Swift or DK for Kyle Pitts? I mean, Swift had a pretty nice performance with that hurdle, but Kyle Pitts is pretty. I don't know. Do you have any fantasy football advice? I'm not sure what I would do there.
I don't know. I don't think I'd trade DK. I don't think
exactly.
I'm giving
That's
up.
a good point.
I don't think I'm giving up either way. I think you should keep your team. If you got DK and Swift,
I think
you should run it.
Fair enough, man. So there's nothing this guy can't tackle. Fantasy football advice, basketball talk. Brady Hawk, thank you so much, man. Enjoy the rest of your week.
Have a good one. Thanks for having me on.
Good stuff there as always from Brady. I think it's probably the most random question Brady Hawk has ever gotten. But I usually bring up his fantasy football teams. I guess it's not that random because I ask him how he's doing because I know he's into it. So I guess asking him about fantasy football is not the most random thing in the world. Whoever invented autocorrect needs to be locked in prison. I wonder who did invent autocorrect. I was going to say maybe it was Steve Jobs, who's no longer with us, because I feel like Apple was doing autocorrect first before Android. So, yeah, I don't know. But autocorrect does kind of come in handy because people get mad when you try to write a curse word. Like when you try to write fuck on your iPhone, it'll correct it to duck, which is really annoying. But there's a reason why they do that, because God forbid you're trying to write a word like duck, maybe to someone who you would not curse to, and you write fuck by accident. You want it to correct. I don't know why me and the trash bag just randomly appears in the tinfoil hat. Oh, I'm going to get to the tinfoil hat in a moment because it's going to be part of Terrible Take Tuesday. Guys, we're going to get in here to Terrible Take Tuesday before Juan Cardona joins us in less than 10 minutes to talk some Dolphins. Terrible Take Tuesday is brought to you, as always, by the great folks at You Break Wheel Fix, located conveniently in North Miami. So wherever you are, Dade County, Broward County, You Break Wheel Fix is not far away. And they provide an incredibly important service because when you're driving around these South Florida streets, there are crazy drivers around you. Some people throw things onto the roads. The roads aren't always in great condition. If you have bent or cracked wheels, You Break Wheel Fix is dedicated to providing high-quality repairs for those damaged rims and wheels. Rims and wheels. They get the job done quickly, my friends, and they get it done right with a quality guarantee. And if you don't want to take my word for it, check out their reviews. 5 stars on Google, 5 stars on Yelp. Happy customer after happy customer you will find. And they love our local sports teams. That's something I love about You Break Wheel Fix. Not only can you get your wheels repaired, and by the way, they'll even give you loaner wheels if you need to get right back out on those streets while they're repairing or tricking out yours. You can get your wheels. You're a South Florida sports fan, so are they. You can get your wheels pimped out in Miami Dolphins colors, Miami Heat colors. Inter Miami, the pink and black look really good on those wheels. Miami Hurricanes colors, the orange and green. They do a fantastic job allowing you to represent your teams loud and proud. Call them, schedule an appointment if you need one, 305-748-0112, and tell them Donno and 5 Reasons Sports sent you, or visit them on the web at youbreakwheelfix.com. So here's the first terrible take for today. I feel terrible for this person, but they should not have relied on this team to finish out their parlay. So this has been making the news today. A bettor who was using BetMGM, and the actual service revealed this information. This is crazy. This person who made this bet was just one victory away from completing a 16-leg parlay that would have turned his $25 bet into $736,959. That's more than $500,000. He would have turned $25 into almost $800,000. He had hit the first 15 games in his 16-leg parlay. He had just one game left. It came down to Monday Night Football, and he needed the Detroit Lions to pull out an outright victory over the Green Bay Packers. Wah, wah. I mean, it's pretty stupid to leave your fate up into the hands of the Detroit Lions. And honestly, the guy who made that bet, he went into Monday night knowing it was not going to finish well for him. Like, this is probably the type of bettor who throws like 6 or 7 different crazy parlays every weekend, hoping if I hit one of these, I'm going to have generational wealth. Right? He could not believe he hit the first 15 of the 16 legs. But then you look at that betting slip. Oh, let me see who's left here. Dear God, I need Detroit to beat Green Bay outright. Not cover the spread. He needed Detroit to beat Green Bay outright. He's probably feeling pretty good in that first quarter, but was not meant to be. Brooklyn Rob says it sounds like something the mush would do. I don't get too crazy on those parlays. When you do a parlay like that, a 16-leg parlay, you kind of have to look at it like a lottery ticket, like you're not really expecting. But then when you get that close, oh, that's got to be so disappointing when you don't hit it. So that here's the next terrible take. And I hope you guys have the tinfoil hat image ready to go here, because this is a little bit of a conspiracy on my part, but I strongly believe this stuff happens. So Sports Illustrated, every year, SI publishes a top 100 NBA player power ranking, top 100. And last year, one of the newest members of the Miami Heat, when he was in Toronto last year, Kyle Lowry was ranked number 28 in the NBA a year ago. That was the 28th guy on the Sports Illustrated power rankings. He signs with the Miami Heat, and what do? They bump him down to number 40. That's a lot of spots to drop, my friends. And I know what you're going to say. He's in his mid-30s. Maybe they think that he's, his skills are going to fall off the precipice. It's suspicious to me. You see people do that with the Miami Heat. You downplay players when they go to Miami. Kyle Lowry is a Toronto Raptor, number 28 ranked player in the entire NBA. He signs with Miami. Let's bump him down to number 40. Folks, I've been seeing stuff like this happen for years. Yeah, it's the globalists. It's a big conspiracy here. They're doing those experiments on frogs, and they're making crazy things happen with these power rankings. I've been covering the Miami Hurricanes college football for more than half of my life, okay? And I noticed something when you follow recruiting rankings, the 4 and the 5-star players, you'll have a player who is crystal balled to Alabama, and he's a 5-star. And then, God forbid, he commits to Miami. Not saying this happens very often, but I've seen it happen before. When you have high school players linked to places like Alabama and Clemson, even Ohio State, Florida, rivals 247 will have them as a 5-star. Then that player, God forbid, he commits to Miami. You wake up the next morning, he's a 4-star. I see this happen all the time. Man. Oh, wow. And my guy, MB Beggs, who's up there in Toronto, he says, Donno, please don't say Toronto Raptors get any love from the basketball media. I'm not saying that. I'm saying Miami gets the opposite of that. They're probably neutral on Toronto. They're less than neutral on the Miami Heat. It's deliberate, I tell you. Deliberate. It's a Frank Costanza quote, and a good one. Let's run through a few more terrible takes here. Hold on. Let me see what we got. I sent Manny and Sean a couple of tweets. Oh, pull up this. This is more of just something that made me laugh than a terrible take. But Miami Clutch PE tweeted something really funny. And you guys noticed that now that Tua is a little bit banged up with the ribs, the Deshaun Watson trade rumors are churning again. The trade deadline is coming up November 2nd, so it's a little over a month away here, a month and a half away. Miami Clutch PE tweeted out, this is so good. The judge in the Deshaun Watson criminal case is going to sentence him to 3 to 5 years behind a Miami offensive line. Bravo. That is such a good joke. And you know what? Deshaun Watson, he's wanted to come to Miami, since the trade rumor started. Miami is where he's wanted to be. If he was actually watching that game against the Bills, he's probably saying, no, thanks. I'd rather be in prison. Lock me up, throw away the key. That is a great tweet. So I just threw that in there. That wasn't a terrible take. This is a terrible take, though. Tweeted by Miami Danny SC. This is just lazy. You're not watching these games, bro. He says, Tua hasn't made a pass rusher miss since Alabama. And, he included, you can see there what's playing is a GIF of or a little video of Deshaun Watson last year evading pass rushers, but him saying Tua has not made a pass rusher miss since Alabama. It's just not true. Like, you can rip on Tua if you want to, right? Why isn't he throwing for 300-400 yards every game? Why isn't Tua lighting up the stat sheet? Why did Tua get benched for Fitzpatrick a couple of times last year? Why does Tua get hurt so much? Like, there's a number of different ways you can rip Tua for, but just don't lie. Like, don't make shit up, okay? He eluded pass rushers in the New England game. He eluded pass rushers multiple times last year, including the games against Arizona and the games against Kansas City. So you're just making stuff up when you say this guy hasn't made a pass rusher miss. And by the way, I will say kudos to our next guest who's coming up here in a couple minutes, Juan Cardona, because he wrote a tweet refuting it, and he made some excellent points. All right, so the last Terrible Take Tuesday I want to bring up here is a tweet from our viewer, good friend of ours, Marla. And you guys, like Sean and Manny, tell me if you agree with her sentiment or disagree. I love her positivity and how rational she is. She's way too rational for the types of people we usually interact with on Twitter. But she says, my hashtag Terrible Take Tuesday is awarded to phony Canes fans who've turned their backs on the team after the 1-2 start to the season and prior to playing any ACC matchups, which could mean the team's chemistry is about to take hold with the most important football games yet to come. I hope she's right. Okay? I hope she's right and they figure something out. The thing is, like, and I'm I see Sean laughing there. I'm not ready to fly a banner plane yet. And I explained why yesterday, and I'll say it again for those who may have not been watching yesterday and you're watching today. I don't have an itchy trigger finger to fire everybody like some of you do, because I've been a Hurricane fan long enough to know that firing coaches doesn't automatically fix anything. Are you going to make changes above the coach? What are we doing about the athletic director? Are we going to have a university president who actually commits to putting the resources and money necessary to improve athletics? Right? Because I remember being all excited about Miami firing Larry Coker. Didn't get better. I was all excited about Miami firing Randy Shannon. Didn't get better after that. I was so excited for Miami firing Al Golden. Didn't get better after that. Right? I mean, the Mark Richt era, there was some good, some bad. He retired. Manny Diaz now. So can you guarantee me that firing Diaz is going to make this program better? History would say otherwise. History would say we need a lot more changes to this university and this program than just firing coaches. It's easy to fire coaches. Anybody can fire them. How do you replace them? How do you address the bigger problems with your athletic department? So it's tough. It's tough. I hope Miami can be competitive. I hope Miami can win the Coastal. I hope they can make a run to win the ACC. I'm hopeful, but I'm not that optimistic after seeing what I saw against Michigan State, seeing what I saw against Appalachian State, and seeing what I saw against Alabama. That's why I had the paper bag over my head yesterday. Maybe this guy can put me in a better mood. Let's go back to the guest line, bring in our good pal, Juan Cardona. We're on a 2-week streak with Juan now. I love it, man. I love seeing your beautiful face, Mr. Cardona. How you doing today?
I'm doing great. Do want to give you a shout out for that hat. Love the hat. It's amazing.
I just hope we start pumping again. Like we recovered some of the losses from last night. I need new all-time highs soon.
Big time, bro.
So, okay, let's start with the Dolphins offensive line, because, bro, how do we fix this, and can this be fixed this season? Because, like, I'd like to give an opportunity to put Liam Eichenberg back in the starting lineup. I'd kind of like to see what Greg Little can do out there, because Austin Jackson and Jesse Davis looked bad. But, like, how much better can the Dolphins make this with the guys they currently have on the roster, and how do we fix it? Is there anybody we can sign to make this better?
I think you asked the right question, or no, you asked the wrong question in the right way,
Okay.
in the sense where I think it's like, can we get worse than this, right? And my answer, just like loudly, is just no. I don't think we can get any worse than what we saw against the Bills, right? Do I think there's a solution this year? Does a Band-Aid fix instead of stitches? I don't see Mitchell Schwartz coming in and like all of a sudden we're like a top 15, top 20 O-line. Like we're behind. We're behind on the 8 ball by a lot. You know, we only have realistically what 2 starters in Dieter and Hunt.
Yeah.
Outside of that, it's, you know, kind of like who really wants to have the job. You know, it doesn't seem at this point that Austin wants the job. Jesse Davis, as much as, you know, we want to appreciate him for his contributions and, you know, his veteran leadership, he's just him and Austin were just liabilities on Sunday, man, and they ultimately cost us Tua.
Yeah. Well, and that's another thing that I find kind of annoying, the narrative coming out of this past Sunday. And this past Sunday was bad. I mean, 35-0. It's humiliating. It's embarrassing. Yeah. The quarterback gets hurt very, very early in the game. And like I see people trying to blame Tua on that game. It's like, what, because his offensive line can't block and he got smashed? Like, I don't see how that's his fault. So I think people are just piling on. They already didn't like Tua. You know, sure. they didn't like the way he played against New England, even though they won the game. They go back to last year. I don't see how anybody can put this past Sunday on Tua. Now he's day to day, you know, and it's mostly going to be like a pain issue for him because the X-rays and the MRIs, the results were negative, which is positive. It's positive to have negative results. Do you think we're going to see him play on Sunday?
No, I don't think we're going to see him 2 to 3 weeks, and I think that rib injury will linger on for 4 to 6 weeks, in my opinion, just because like what the injury is and what his position is. Like, yeah, maybe you could be, I don't know, a running back or a receiver and kind of protect yourself from your ribs, right? But if we're looking at Tua going back out there with the same old line, with having rib issues, with maybe not even being able to protect himself, it's concerning. And that's already, you know, kind of side skirting the fact that, like you said, it might be ultimately a pain tolerance thing, but how much torque can you put on your body if you have a rib that's hurting you? How much power could you put on a throw if you're wincing every time you breathe? Like it's gonna be tough. I'm not sure if they still do like those shots like with Tyrod last year, where he may be able to have like a pain injection.
Just
I'm not sure
miss.
if they still do that. But that's the danger of it, because now it's like, you know, well, what if they puncture his lung now because of this? So it's an overall it's a concerning thing. I do see it affecting us for more than, you know, the week that we're talking about here, because I mean, we could have seen Tua with an amputated pinky and he would have been day to day for the rest of the year. So it's just, you know, it's the Flores way is not to give too much info.
Yeah.
You just, you know, it sucks to kind of have to go through it as, you know, week 2 already.
Yeah, and I talked about this earlier in the show. The fact that Flores doesn't give you much info on anything that he's not required to give you, I think that caused people to jump to a lot of conclusions on the Will Fuller thing last week. Like, we knew he was unavailable for personal reasons, and the fact that Flores would not commit to him coming back or not made a lot of people assume. Yeah, it made a lot of people assume, oh, he's never coming back. Like, oh, but I just don't think they understand Flo. Like, they don't understand that. Like, if I were to ask Flo, Coach, what are you planning to have for dinner tonight? He would say, we're going to take that day by day.
Day by day.
Hour
we still
by
have
hour.
Lunch on the way. We got to prep for lunch. And then once time for dinner, maybe we can start to talk about it. Yeah, 100%, Donno.
Yeah, so it made people freak out. I mean, obviously Fuller was going through something, and I don't know what it was, and I don't even care to know. It's none of my business what he was going through in his personal life. But yeah, he's already back. And according to Cameron Wolfe, he's going to make his debut this Sunday against the Raiders. Now, you know, Fuller last week would not have been the difference in a win or a loss. So maybe it's good. It's good he took the weekend off to address personal stuff, because they would not have won that game with him anyway. But how much of a difference can he make this Sunday, Juan?
So I'm not gonna lie, I had the Dolphins winning on Sunday because of Fuller, right? And once Fuller was out, like I think Saturday or Friday, I came down from like the score and I still had the Dolphins winning it. I never expected the O-line to just completely like self-implode basically at this point. Like it was literally just kind of everything we saw building up in camp and everything like that, to where worst case scenario happened literally week 2, where the line can't block anybody. Tua got hurt, no run game, no semblance of an offense. You were leaving the defense out to dry. And I think we literally saw a worst case scenario for the season. Does that mean the season is over? I don't think so. Does that mean the next couple of games are going to be tougher? Absolutely. But ultimately, with or without Tua, there's still things that need to get addressed that aren't on his plate, right? Like Love Waddle, back-to-back weeks with third down drops. Can't have that from a 6th overall pick. Liam, 3rd-round pick, I believe. He got his opportunities again at right tackle.
2nd-round pick, I think.
2nd? Okay. Greg Rousseau, respectfully put him on his ass, and there was no Kinley foot to blame. So and I'm like skipping over Jalen Phillips, who's been, not noticeable, I guess you could say, to be nice. So it's tough, bro. It's so tough to try to defend Chris Grier because Noah's not even playing. Austin looks terrible. It's tough, man. It's tough.
Juan Cardona is with us here on Donno Daily on the 5 Reasons Sports Network. And of course, with Tua's injury situation, the trade deadline is November 2nd. So the Deshaun Watson stuff just won't die. And like Brooklyn Rob points out, he says, hey, well, Texans rookie quarterback Davis Mills is going to start Thursday night versus the Panthers. Tyrod Taylor officially ruled out, and they're still not starting Watson. Like they're still not playing him there. Do you think there could be something to the Miami Lynx? Now, I'll just give you my personal take real quick. And if I take my moral high ground aside, because I don't like the stuff he's been accused of. Still, if I look at this from a Dolphins standpoint and a general manager standpoint, if I put the Chris Grier hat on instead of the Bitcoin hat on, I would be very hesitant still to make this deal unless I can get some sort of legal protection, right? That if I have some clause in there with Houston, the conditional picks, like some clause in there that says, hey, look, if this guy ends up going to trial or going to prison and he's not available for us, that we're going to get some, if not all, of the compensation we gave you back. Every report over the last several weeks has said the Texans are not willing to put any conditions into it. So I don't see how you could make this deal if you're the Miami Dolphins unless you can get language like that in there. Do you agree?
I 100% agree. Now, after the game, obviously, I wasn't the first one to talk about DW. I wasn't even thinking about DW after Sunday. It was such a bad loss. But then you start to really think about it, and you're like, okay, well, it's obviously right now it's Caserio and from our point of view, Grier, they're having a little bit of a chicken match, right? And we're gonna see who blinks first. Like, is Grier gonna be the one to say, man, Tua's hurt, let's go give them whatever we want, or whatever they want, excuse me? Or is it gonna be, hey, Tua is hurt. Maybe now we're a little bit more interested. Maybe now we're a little more flexible, but we're still not going to give you everything you want, right? And I think at some point, someone's going to blink, whether it's the Texans getting, tired of dealing with the situation. Because if we're being honest, DW could be playing first 2 weeks. He could have been playing Thursday. Like right now, it's just the Texans don't want to play him because the NFL has not moved a muscle, and by all indications, don't seem like they're going to. Personally, I don't know if a trade makes the NFL have to move or do anything. It is something to consider, but in the event that trade does get made, hell, we're looking at some crazy times in Miami, right? And it's just because, and again, keeping all the off-field stuff out of it, on the field, the talent is just what it is, and adding that to what we already had with the defense, which we saw, week one, it's hard for me to say I wouldn't want to do it.
Oh, sorry. I thought I lost you there for a second. Last thing, I'd love your prediction on the Raiders game this Sunday. Raiders off to a great start. They don't play in the AFC North, but they might end up getting crowned AFC North champions because they've already, beaten the Ravens and the Steelers. So this is looking like maybe a tougher game than we thought it would be before the season started. And the Dolphins have to go on the road, that brand spanking new stadium out there. What do you think happens this Sunday?
Again, I'm just full honesty. Like I predicted 1-4 to start the year, and I predicted the only win was going to be against the Raiders. and now that's not even looking like a gimme at this point. It's going to be challenging, man, because they obviously are going to be missing Josh Jacobs, which I think Gruden said he's very questionable. I think Carr is just questionable with probably the expectation of playing. But the one thing they do well is run the ball, and they will run it often, right? And back-to-back games of 35-plus yard runs to start, it kind of does scare me that dynamic right there for us. They also, I feel like, are playing with a little more confidence, and they're at home, bro. And we know about the Miami flu down here. You know, I feel like there's a Vegas flu too, and we gotta be mindful of that. You know, and hopefully we get our A game, and if it's with Jacoby and just mistake-free football and kind of playing like that game manager role. You know,
I've caught that Vegas flu a few times, so I know it could be a nasty one. Juan Cardona, you could follow him on Twitter at Exclusivity. And check out his work all over the 5 Reasons Sports Network. Anything you want to plug? When's the next time we can see, hear you, or read you on the network?
You guys get to see our 3 or 4 beautiful faces with me, Royal, Mike, and Kai. We're going to be live tonight. I'm going to be full force negativity, so just be prepared. Maybe Mike will be positive Patty to even it out, but I don't think so. But yeah, tonight at 9 we'll be live.
By the way, is Royal now a full-time Dolphins fan? Because I know his significant other was pushing him in that direction.
Yeah,
the Packers won last night, so he might be getting back into the Green Bay.
He might be a little more positive this week than week 1. It's a work in progress. So we've infiltrated his house. So his girlfriend, or his wife, excuse me, is a Dolphins fan. So it's just it's slowly creeping up on him. We got 17 games this year. 2 down. I think we'll fully convert him before the year's up.
I love it. Great stuff here as always by Juan Cardona. Make sure you check out his work. Thank you so much, Juan. Enjoy the rest of your week and enjoy your show coming up.
Thank you for having me, bro. Peace.
Good stuff there as always by Juan. Oh man, fantastic. The comment section has been lit today. You know what I forgot to do today, I realized, and I'm kicking myself for this. Before the show, I like to write out some scheduled tweets that promotes all of our guests right when they're going to come on. So I feel like I've done a disservice to Juan, and I've done a disservice to Brady Hawk that I forgot to write out those scheduled tweets today. So I appreciate everyone who's been tuning in anyway. And make sure, if you're on here right now, watching us live, or if you watch us via replay later on, do us a huge favor. It takes half a second. Smash the like button. Hit that thumbs up button. The more likes we get, the more visible this video gets, the more people's timelines and algorithms we show up in, the more people are going to find out about not only the show that we do here, Donno Daily, every day at noon, but all the other great stuff happening on the 5 Reasons Sports Network. So make sure you smash that like button. And if you can take another half a second, because it doesn't take long to do this either, subscribe to our channel as well. Subscribe to the 5 Reasons Sports channel. So something that was interesting that Juan said, and of course this is his feeling. We're not going to know until later in the week, because as far as NFL weeks go, unless you're playing a Thursday night game, if you play on Sunday, Tuesday is so early in the week. You don't find stuff out like this until usually about Thursday, the status of a player. Juan does not think we'll see Tua on Sunday. I had been leaning to yes, we will see Tua on Sunday, but he brought up some good points. If he's in a lot of pain and his throwing motion, not only his mobility, but his throwing motion is compromised by the rib pain and the flak jacket that he would have to wear, we might end up not seeing him for a few weeks. I like Jacoby Brissett, but he's a backup quarterback, right? I mean, Jacoby Brissett is not the type of QB where you think, oh, we have a quarterback controversy. This guy should be playing. He's not even Ryan Fitzpatrick. But Jacoby Brissett, I like him, but he's a backup quarterback. So yeah, if God forbid Tua is out for the next 2 or 3 games, I know a lot of people don't like Tua and they don't think anything of him, but yeah, it's going to damage the Dolphins' chances of collecting wins over these next few games, where you have Vegas coming up, which looks like a really tough game now. You've got the Indianapolis Colts, which should be a winnable game, could be a winnable game. Tampa Bay after that. Say a few prayers before that one. That's going to be a really difficult one on the road in Tampa. So, yeah, we need all hands on deck. We need to and we've got to do something with this offensive line. Like Juan said, if you go out there and get Schwartz, doesn't automatically fix it. The players you have on the bench don't automatically fix this. I just think you have to shake this up for two reasons. One of the guys who's not been playing, I mean, Liam Eichenberg did play the first game, didn't play the second. We haven't seen Greg Little. One of these guys may actually give you a spark and may give you more effort than what you're getting from Austin Jackson, who's been an embarrassment, and Jesse Davis, who was an embarrassment this past Sunday. I think it's important to give players opportunities when things are going so poorly. And also, I think from a coaching standpoint, when you have offensive tackles who are playing so badly, I think you do need to send a message to that entire roster that efforts like this, results like this are not tolerated. If you play this badly, you deserve to be benched. And we're going to set that example at every position. We know that Flores is willing to set that example at quarterback because it happened twice last year when mid-game Tua gets benched for Ryan Fitzpatrick. You need to have that same rule applying for offensive linemen. If your guys are not getting it done and they're getting smoked, you need to show that roster, no matter what position you play, whether you're an offensive tackle, a quarterback, a wide receiver, if you're not producing out there, especially when you're an O-lineman getting our quarterback killed, we are going to bench you. So I want to see different guys in starting roles, Sean, this Sunday at the offensive tackle positions.
But Donno, remember, they said the best 5 are the 5 we're putting out on the field. So
well, if that's our best, if that's our best 5, if that's our best 5, I hope there's an asteroid heading right for us right now because it's over. Cancel Christmas. We're done.
That's what he said. The best 5 will play.
Oh my God!
Players on the field.
If that's our best 5, God help us. If that's our best 5, we might win 2 more games all year. It's a dumpster fire. If that's our best 5, oh, so bad. On tomorrow's show, we're going to talk a little bit more Miami Hurricanes. We're going to have Jakari Givens on tomorrow. We'll talk Dolphins and Canes with King Jock. And I'm looking forward to this on Saturday. Miami's going to take on Central Connecticut State. Even Miami will have no problem winning that game. But we're going to see more of a running back rotation, which I think is important. Don Chaney in the Appalachian State game suffered the season-ending injury. We're still 1 more game away from, or no, 2 more games. No, yeah, just one more game. So he'll miss 1 more game, be back the following week. But we're still going to be 1 more game without Jalen Knighton, the Rooster, who was suspended to start the year. And this past Saturday against Michigan State, the only running back who got a carry was Cameron Harris. And Cameron Harris was out there for 88 out of 90 offensive snaps. That's too much. It's too much for Cam Harris. It's too much for anybody. Cody Brown only played 2 snaps, didn't get a carry in either of those. He's got to get some work this week. And again, easy, soft opponent. Brooklyn Rob. Since I said even Miami will have no problem against Central Connecticut State, Brooklyn Rob says, wow, bet Connecticut State. I don't know what the spread is, though. So if you want, maybe I don't know what the spread is. Miami, I'm sure, is heavily favored. Maybe bet Connecticut State against the spread. But no, Miami's not going to lose that game outright. It's impossible to lose that game just with the level of talent. But I want to see Cody Brown actually get a handful of carries. I'd like to see Thad Franklin on the field getting a little bit of work, the other freshman, because, 88 snaps out of 90. That's way too much to put on Cameron Harris's shoulders. So we've got to see more. And Miami coaches talked about that this week. Rhett Lashley talked about it. He said that's too many plays for Cam, even if a lot of them were pass protection. He said Cody Brown definitely needs to play more. We did have some things in there, but he only touched the ball once with Brashard. We definitely have to play more than 1 back, and that's too many plays for sure. So admitting that that was too much of a workload. I'll agree to this. I'm fine with it. David says if Miami loses that game, Donno gets punished. Sean Stanley, I'm going to give you some homework over the next 3 days. Figure out something embarrassing that I have to do if Miami loses to Central Connecticut State. I mean, I would agree to just about anything because, again, it's impossible for Miami to lose that game. Several years ago when I was doing evenings on WQAM, I think it was before Miami opened up the season against Bethune-Cookman, who impossible for Bethune-Cookman to beat Miami. It's not going to happen. Although I think they may have. No, I'm thinking of FAMU. FAMU, I think, beat Miami in the 70s at some point. But it's, in 2021, it's not possible for FAMU or Bethune-Cookman to beat Miami. And this was back before Miami had a Bethune-Cookman opener. I promise, and I would have lived up to it. I even had my wife looking at real estate out there that if Miami lost to Bethune-Cookman, I would move to Tibet and I would become a Himalayan monk and I would take a vow of silence. And I was going to carry through on it. Miami ended up winning the game by like 45 points, 50 points, but I would have done it. Like if they had lost the game, I am a man of my word. I would have moved to Tibet and I would have become a monk. You never would have seen or heard from me ever again. I will make an agreement like that. Oh, Dan Weiss says, this is way too easy, bro. He says you have to wear a Michigan jersey. Oh, I guess Dan is probably a Michigan fan. Oh, that's a good one. Boom. David, you got it, bro. Donno has to wear Manny shoes. Manny, what size do you wear? Would you allow me? Like, I won't wear them like out like in the dirt or anything where they would get damaged. Would you allow me to put on? Oh, he wears an 11. I wear a 12. I don't know if I'm gonna fit in those shoes. See, I would offer to buy a pair, but they're so expensive. I'll try to squeeze into Manny's 11s. Manny says I'll take it. So he's in agreement. I don't know. Maybe Yeezys run bigger than Nikes. So maybe I'll be able to squeeze into those 11s. This is a good one as well. A good possibility. I like the shoes one. If I can fit into Manny's shoes, I'll wear them for a day, and I'm not gonna like wear them outside or anything where I'm gonna damage his expensive ass shoes. But those ugly Yeezys, yeah, I will wear those for a day if Miami loses this game to Central Connecticut State. Or David writes, Donno has to confess his love for Cristiano Ronaldo. I've been trashing Ronaldo on Twitter for years. But the thing is, since Ronaldo, he mudded Juventus by leaving like at the very end of the transfer window and kind of screwing them over, I'm kind of a fan now. Because my hatred for Juventus is more powerful than my hatred for Ronaldo. So with CR7 leaving Juventus in the dirt, and they haven't, well, they did win a really easy Champions League game, but they haven't won a game domestically since he left. I'm kind of a Ronaldo fan now. Oh, Brooklyn Rob says, Donno needs to walk around South Beach in a tinfoil hat, explaining how the Canes lost in the Alex Jones voice. That is good. We got to do that, and I'll have Sean and Manny come out there with me and film me, and I'll be wearing Hurricanes gear from head to toe, tinfoil hat. Let me tell you something about the globalists. Yeah. Blake James has been infiltrated by the Illuminati. You got Hillary Clinton, George Soros back there pulling the strings. This is why Miami's no longer good. For 20 years they've been working on dismantling the Hurricanes program. I would totally do that. Oh, I like Donno wears a LeBron jersey. Well, somebody's got to provide me with a LeBron jersey because I'm not buying one. I'd rather flush my money down the toilet. So if someone has a LeBron jersey they would like let me borrow for a day, I would wear a LeBron jersey. I think that's enough for today. Huge thanks to everyone who's watched us and listened back to us on the podcast as well. I don't plug this enough, but our shows, they do get podcasted audio only. I know people ask us about this all the time. It goes to the Five Rings Canes podcast feed. So if you subscribe to Five Rings Canes, you can find it on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, wherever you get your pods. If you subscribe to Five Rings Canes, we put our Donno Daily episodes there as well. And I know the audio podcasts are good because it's really easy to listen to the car. If you have Bluetooth in your car, you put it right through your speakers. It's awesome. Take us with you on a jog or on a walk. And of course, you can always get the video on YouTube. Video replays, for those watching this back on replay, we do go live at noon every single weekday. And if you're watching us, whether you're live or watching us via replay, make sure you smash the like button and subscribe to 5 Reasons Sports on YouTube. And huge, I want to give some shout outs here. Rafa in Miami, David, Marco, MB Beggs listening to us up in Canada, Brooklyn Rob, Baby Shack 569, thank you. Dan Weiss, thank you so much for tuning in. Cap for Life, one of my favorites, going back to the on-site radio days. Cap for Life is awesome. Julio Infante Ramos, thank you for listening. He asks, when is that front office going to be held accountable for not improving the offensive line and the running back? You know what? I think that is happening. And I want to devote more time to that this week. I did devote some time to it yesterday. If you missed yesterday's show on Chris Greer, missing on a lot of early draft picks. It's become very evident now. The Dolphins have missed on a lot of first-round picks and second-round picks for that matter. So thank you for tuning in. And God, I'm trying to scroll up all the way up. Bow Leg, thank you for watching. Let's see who else got in. I don't know. I'm done. I'm done throwing shout outs. If I missed you, deal with it. Devin Jordan, thank you for tuning in. Ray Gruyon, G.A. Kane fan. We will see everybody tomorrow. Thank you guys so much. And by the way, if you're looking for a place to bet some of the European football action going on today, I've got my boys, my Internazionale, Inter playing this afternoon against Fiorentina. I don't want to mush my team, so I'm not going to bet on the game. Brooklyn Rob, thank you. I'm not going to mush Inter today, hoping they beat Fiorentina. But if you want to bet on soccer, you want to bet on Thursday Night Football coming up this week, you want to bet on all the games this weekend, the Hurricanes, the Dolphins, make sure you guys are taking advantage of the sweet deal we have with the official sportsbook of Donno Daily. It is BetUS, betus.com. They have action on everything, my friends. They are known as America's favorite sportsbook. The customer service is awesome. You can bet on sports, casino. You can play blackjack right in there, which I love, horses, pop culture, and more. BetUS.com. And when you sign up with our code 5RSN125, you can get yourself a 125% sign-up bonus or 200% if you deposit with crypto. 5RSN125 is our code. You bet, you win, you get paid. BetUS.com. And a huge shout-out to Ugly Shoes Manny and to, I don't have a funny nickname for Sean Stanley, pro wrestling fan Sean Stanley. Thank you guys, Manny and Sean. We will talk to everyone again tomorrow. It'll be a hump day edition of Donno Daily here on the 5 Reasons Sports Network. Ciao.